In today's episode, you'll be sitting in on a conversation with Rachel Sklar, a parenting and executive coach, and the person that I have on speed dial for when one of my kids throws a full boba across the room at the other person's head, and I'm worried I'm going to lose it on them. True story. Now, Rachel is the founder of the Boy Mom Academy, where she helps moms raising strong willed boys to be kind, calm, and cooperative. She works with families and leaders to build better relationships, to reduce stress, and to create realistic systems that work. And today, she's giving us a window into the way that she works. And I can't wait for you to be a fly on the wall for this one. Welcome to the Do More, Stress Less podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Hasselberger, a time management and productivity coach. In every episode, I give you actionable, practical tips to help you learn to use your time in a way that feels good to you every day. No more hustling, scrambling, or struggling to keep your head above water. So let's dive in, and soon enough, you'll be doing more and stressing less. All right, welcome, Rachel. I'm so excited to have you here with us today. Can you give us like a little snapshot of you and, what does your life look like professionally, personally? What are you balancing? What are you juggling?
So many things. Thank you for having me on your podcast, Alexis.
Yeah.
The thing I'm juggling the most, and it's funny because I do really think about juggling a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I have three teenage boys. I've got one leaving for UCLA in September. Okay.
Nice.
Last
Congrats.
year, not easy, gearing up for that, applying for that. There was a lot on everybody's plate around that. I have one whose bar mitzvah is next week, so I'm knee-deep in planning mode of all the details. I'm also the co-lead for my Burning Man camp, which is a year-round endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
I have a husband who's currently experimenting with early retirement, which is actually very nice to have a house husband.
Yeah.
So that's on a personal level. And then on a professional level, I kind of juggle, I would say, three big pieces. I have a group program called the Boy Mom Academy, which is sort of my signature program and the place where I create community. And I work with moms of strong-willed boys. I also have a private coaching practice, and I speak. And I'm now working on an executive coach contract, which I love. And I just hired a new online business manager yesterday, so that's interesting.
Ooh, congratulations. I'm going to want to hear more about that.
Yeah. And I do think about these are all the things that I'm juggling, and I get a lot of freedom when I put those balls down.
Mm-hmm.
But also I love every single one of those balls that I'm juggling. I just don't love when there's too many of them in the air at once.
Right. You have to be an expert juggler.
Yes.
You can throw some of them high enough up so that they don't come down before the other ones come down. Okay, well, that's a lot, right? That's a lot of things. And I think that, it's like we're all juggling a lot. And it's fun to be able to say we actually enjoy those things, that there's no balls we want to throw away.
Exactly. Exactly. And just being, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the only person kind of working my business full time. And so I wear every single hat in my business, from marketing to financials to the actual work. And so it's a lot.
That is a lot. Yeah. But also I hear you delegating and hiring an online business manager. So what is this new person going to do for you?
Well, it's interesting because it was a cold outreach, right? How many times a day do you delete cold outreaches from people?
Hundreds.
So this one actually happened to have gone to my sort of VA account that I have, someone who manages for me. I have a woman who works a few hours a week for me, just kind of watching that account.
Mm-hmm.
And she forwarded me this cold outreach message. And I don't know I wish I could go back. I probably should go back and look at what was different about it. I think she specializes in working with people who help parents. So that niche, right, spoke to me, which is why I think that working with moms of strong-willed boys is working, right? The more precise your niche, more people hear, oh, that's me. And so that was really helpful. And but also, there are pieces of my business that I just can't. They're balls that are just sitting there waiting to be picked up.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very interested in the idea of having someone come along and pick up balls that I can't pick up.
Yeah.
She wants to develop systems in my business. She's very good at making systems for people. And when I
Mm-hmm.
interviewed her, I said, I am very good at systems. I do not systems. That is my strong suit. What I need help with is business development, right?
Mm-hmm.
Finding people who can be affiliate marketers for me,
Right.
finding more podcast,
Yeah.
engagements, or
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
doing things that I just don't have time to even begin doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear how all of this plays out. Um, and so that's interesting, right? Because it's like, yeah, you have all these balls in the air, you have a successful business, you have a lot of things going on with your kids. Like when you think about like when you get to the end of the day and you're like, that was a productive day. Like,
Mhm.
what does that mean for you? What does that look like? Like,
I have such a complicated relationship with productivity, Alexis.
don't we all? Isn't that why we're here?
And
Or like maybe a good day. Let's just say
yeah,
like
no,
if you have a
no,
good day at work, right? Like you're like packing up for the day, you're like going to have dinner, your husband has made dinner because he's a house husband now. Like you're getting off like what does that feel like? What's a good day?
yeah. So the the surface level answer, and really the surface level feeling, so it's
Yeah.
authentic, is that my inbox has maybe less than 8 messages in it.
Mm-hmm.
My task list program has been either completed or, planned for the future, planned move to future dates, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just kind of generally walk away not having a lot on my plate.
Yeah.
But I think more than anything, if I dig a little bit deeper, if I peel back the layers,
Mm-hmm.
I have to be very careful not to make that picture equal my worth, right?
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
make sure that it's like if I do end the day with a very overwhelming inbox and lots of items on my task list that I didn't get to, that I
Uh-huh.
don't walk away saying I suck or I can't do this, or even using the words I'm overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
Because, my words create the overwhelm as much as the task list does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's a practice for me to look at a day that maybe wasn't quote unquote productive and still feel like I made a difference in the world and still feel like it's the work that I'm doing is valid and valued. And I'm excited to wake up tomorrow and start picking away at what there is to do.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that because I mean, I think you're so right. It can be so easy to be like, well, I didn't finish everything on my task list for today, and therefore I am a failure. Right. And
Right.
I think it's like that has never made sense to me. But I think most people that I work with come in kind of feeling like that. And sometimes we're even hesitant to put practices or systems and things in place because we're worried that, like, what if it happens again? When yeah, it's kind of like for me, you know what? There are days when I don't get to all of the things I had planned for myself. But that just means that something took longer or something else came up that was more important. And that, like, if you can feel good about the trade offs you made, then
Yes.
pushing those things to the future isn't a problem.
Exactly. And I mean, I learned that from you largely.
Yeah.
But I also like it's not even just about saying at the end of the day I was a failure. It's like
Yeah.
saying at the end of the day, oh, I wasn't productive today because I
Mhm.
these things that I had planned to do done.
Yeah.
If I'm really honest with myself, I was productive. Every day I am
Yeah.
productive. Even if I
Yeah.
do nothing, then doing nothing has value for me.
Yeah.
It's something about, my life doing nothing trumped doing something, and that had value.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know
So,
if I'm wrong for it.
well, I love that. Like, my definition of productivity is kind of similar. I won't say it because I want to hear yours first.
I
But what is your definition, your personal definition of productivity then?
oh gosh. Um, I think okay. I think it's that I connected first of all, I like every day to have some kind of a client connection
Mhm.
because it's why I do the work that I do.
Yeah.
And so if I go to do a full day and I didn't outreach a client, email with a client, answer a question in my WhatsApp community, or do something that connected me to the people that I work for,
Mhm.
you know, then I feel like, wow, I missed the mark today.
Mhm.
I need to reevaluate. So that's something that makes me feel really productive. Um, and I don't know, I guess another value for me or another definition of productivity for me is that I can close my computer at the end of the day and feel like I want to go back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
It's
there
like,
are days I don't. I
yeah.
admit, there are days that I don't. There are days that I think, well, I want to retire early too. You know?
Yeah.
But thankfully, if those days are few and far between, then I
Yeah.
know that I'm in a good place at work.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like the like ease of that and like or the grayness of that in a
Mhm.
way, right? Because I think that it's true, like not every day is gonna go how we planned, right? It's like I always think about that quote from Atomic Habits that's something like, every choice you make is a vote in the, towards the person you want to become or something like that. And I always thought of that as like, great, that only means I need to be right like 51% of the time, right?
I love that.
Like, I don't need to say 90%. No, no, no. I need to be going in the right direction, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and
And
that's
I
so,
think
yeah,
can I say something else about that?
of course.
There's also something about perfectionism here that's so hard for me,
Hmm.
right? Because I I hold myself to a very high standard. I have a very high level of executive functioning skills. I do a lot in a day.
Hmm.
Um, and so there was a shift that I made about a year ago. I had something meaningful happen in my life, and it was actually around my son applying to college and whether he was going to go in undeclared or
Hmm.
go in with a major.
Hmm.
And there was a mindset shift that happened for me where I was like, you know what? He is undeclared in his major. He doesn't have to choose something just to choose something. He is like genuinely, authentically undeclared. And it's undeclared if that matters. And it's undeclared if he's even going to get into college.
Right.
And then I started running with that and I was like, and it's undeclared if I'm going to be successful in my business. And it's undeclared if I'm going to end up making dinner tonight. And it's undeclared if I'm going to finish my task list today.
Hmm.
And I kind of like started to let go of the expectations around things going a certain way.
Hmm.
And I would just say to myself in the morning, okay, like it's undeclared whether or not I'm going to finish this task list today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that gave me so much freedom, you know?
I really like this concept. Well, first, sidebar, I think it is absolutely ridiculous that we expect 17 and 18-year-olds to know what they want to study and or do. Like ridiculous. Um, I definitely don't remember from when we were going to college that anyone was going into college with a major in mind, right? Unless you were like pre-med or something like that. But like, so
Yeah,
sidebar. But I really like this kind of undeclaredness because to me it makes me think of actually like the concept of lead indicators and lag indicators. Are you familiar with this
a little
concept?
bit. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, so like the idea is right that like a lead indicator is something you do, something you can control, right? Like, so let's just, I don't know, we'll use an example of like, let's say you want to get 5 new clients or something like that,
Okay.
right? Like a lead indicator is like reaching out to people. A lag indicator is the clients you get, or like the lead indicator is like doing tasks on your list, and the lag indicator is whether you get those tasks done.
Yeah.
And I find that it's so much more, I don't know, maybe freeing is the word, or maybe motivating is the word, I'm not sure, to be able to focus on the lead indicators, whereas like I can control the effort that I put forth on something, but I have to be undetached from the outcome to a certain degree. Otherwise, I'm going to make myself crazy.
Well, this is a really important concept in parenting.
Yeah.
So I'm a parenting coach, and I work with moms of boys especially. And I recently had a guest speaker in my community, Ryan Park, and he
Hmm.
talked about the difference between goals and outcomes,
Hmm.
which is similar, just calling it something different. But he said this example you can say to your kid is you can, of teenagers. So you can go into a job interview prepared and dressed nicely and showing up on time and doing the best that you can. But whether or not they decide to hire you is really not up to you.
Right.
Right? But
Yeah.
we think of the goal as getting the job.
Yeah.
The goal's not getting the job because you actually can't control that. So exactly. And I
Yeah.
think that I take that to heart because I show up in my business every day with integrity, with authenticity, doing the best that I can. And if people decide to unsubscribe from my list or not, join my programs or go a different direction, then that's not really up to me.
Mm-mm.
And so I think this is kind of part of my aging process too, but I've recently adopted a love me or leave me mindset.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody just the other day. A friend was in town, and we had gone to a business retreat together, and she was staying with me, and she was she was saying, gosh, I hate it when I sign up for these things online, and then like now I get all these emails from people, but I don't want to unsubscribe because I don't want them to feel bad. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh man, like we got to change the mindset around this, right? Like because one, they're gonna feel better if you don't want what they're selling and you get off their email list. That's better for them. Like their open rates are better. Like they're not paying for like you dead weight on their email list. Like that is so much better for them, right? Just the same way that like love me or leave me, right? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
we don't need like no matter what it is, even for those of us people listening that are not business owners in any way, where maybe that example is not as relevant. Like, yeah, like I don't need, we don't need things in our life that isn't like making us go in the direction that we want or feel good. I
Mhm.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that show up for you? What other ways are you thinking about it?
Well, when I write an email, for example, to either my paid community or to
Mm-hmm.
my whole list, right? I'm
Yep.
like, don't want any typos in it. I don't want to
Yeah.
make any errors. I don't want to say anything that's going to offend anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it's gotten a lot easier over the years, but I'll write an
Yeah.
email. I have a 2-tip Tuesday newsletter where I give
Yep.
parenting tips, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can spend way too much time on them. And then
Mm.
it's time to send them. And I get this like adrenaline rush right before I hit send because
Yeah.
I know that it might be bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I say to myself, love me or leave me. Send.
I like it. It's like a mantra. It's like a confidence mantra or something. Yeah, I love it. I just like those types of emails. I just schedule them in advance so that because for whatever reason the resistance is less if
Uh-huh.
I schedule it. That if like I have to press send in this moment, then my brain goes, oh no, I
Yeah.
don't want to. But if I'm like, oh no, that'll be sent tomorrow. Somehow my brain's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm just scheduling something. I have time to go change it. I love. Okay, you had mentioned before that like you're really good at systems and yet you hired someone to kind of help you with things. Like what are your favorite systems and your favorite tools to help you manage all the many balls that you're
The
juggling?
ones I learned from you or the ones I didn't learn from you?
Either one. Like, yeah, like what are the things that like a little bit of both, whatever
Yeah.
things come up. Yeah.
Okay. So, um, I mean, one thing I did learn from you is really my task management system.
Uh-huh.
I use TickTick,
Uh-huh.
and it is so simple, right? It is just a to-do list that I see every day,
Uh-huh.
and with a next action date, and things just move. I either am kicking the can down the road on something, or I'm
Uh-huh.
not, and
Yeah.
and things get done. So that's a really important part of my system. I think that my business would completely fall apart without it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Gmail is part of my system,
Yeah.
right? But same thing, like if it stopped working, I don't know what would happen to my business. Yesterday morning, got into the office and I had like one email in my inbox, but I'm pretty sure I didn't get myself to inbox 0 on Friday. And I
Interesting.
was very
Yeah.
suspicious, and I actually still don't know what happened. And
Mm.
so there are a handful of emails out there that are somewhere. I
Yeah.
remember one of them, and I searched it, and it was archived, so I might have clicked something, so systems break, right?
You can go into all mail. There's a
I
hidden
didn't know
all
that.
there's a hidden all mail button that will
Oh.
show you everything. So if you go into just a little side note there,
Oh,
if
good
you
to
go
know.
into whatever, just like the more, I'm looking over here, more. If you click
Mhm.
more, then there's all email and you should be able
Okay.
to see everything in date order.
Pro tip, get
Okay.
a note.
For a tip. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah, so for systems, I mean, I try to automate as much as possible.
Mhm.
Anything that I can automate, I do. I even
Mhm.
use, text expander to automate.
Yeah.
I never type my own address or my own
Right.
birth date or anything. I don't type
Yes.
anything that I have to type more than a few times. So that is really great. And then I just kind of have like a scheduling system. I don't see clients on Mondays, so I have a
Mhm.
full day of admin.
Yep.
Um, and I usually schedule all my tasks for the week on Monday, and then as much as I get done on Monday, and then
Mhm.
I move things down, and by Friday, I've accomplished pretty much everything on the list, right?
Great. Yeah.
So that is a really great system that works for me. But I have to say a lot of my systems are very customized and personal. So
Mm.
for example, if I have, a client who needs to schedule their next appointment and hasn't yet,
Mhm.
I've got things don't fall through the cracks like that
Yeah.
anymore now that I use TickTick. So
Yeah.
I have very good follow-up,
Hmm.
each person. And then everything lives in my CRM. I have
Yeah.
automation set up.
Yeah. Yeah. To like make it easier for your brain to, since you're
Yeah,
juggling all the things.
yeah.
And you just mentioned TickTick, which I think everybody knows I love, and also
Mhm,
Text Expander, which is another tool that I love. And
mhm.
I will put links to both of those in the show
Do.
notes for
Yes,
people so that
do.
they can access
Yeah.
them. But, I had a similar thought the other Text Expander was down for like 2 hours at some point last week, like some morning. And I literally was like, I can't function. Like I kept like going to, put in snippets and things like that. And I literally was like, when is it going to be back up? Like I realized how, I mean, it sounds like I'm some kind of junkie for Text Expander or something, but I realized like, oh yeah, these automation systems that we do put in place, they become so integrated that you realize, wow, it actually does save me a lot of time when I like am not able to use a tool that I've set up.
Great. Do you
Right.
get the email that tells you how many minutes you saved that week?
Yeah, I think that's the most brilliant piece of marketing that Text Expander has ever done. And for people who are like, "What is Text Expander?" Text Expander is one of my absolute favorite tools, and it just allows you, if you're someone who writes the same thing over and over, you have to fill out a lot of forms, or you have things that you say again and again. It allows you to create snippets of text that you can expand into any program you're working on. So like your email or documents, etc. And so it's really helpful for not having to recreate the wheel. What I used to do before that was I would be like, I know I sent somebody something like this before, and I would search in my email so I found the language and then copy and paste it, and that felt good, but this feels a million times better.
It doesn't just expand text.
Yeah.
Like, once a month, I do a PayPal withdrawal for this nonprofit that I work
Hmm.
with, and so when it's time for me to do the PayPal withdrawal, I open an email, and I
Hmm.
type into the to line /PayPal.
Yeah.
Populates all the people I'm sending the email to, the
Yes.
subject line, the body
Yes.
of the email. It just
Yes.
populates everything in
Yes.
order,
Yep.
um, and then I just, change the one thing that I have to change in the email, which is the amount that I deposited that month. And so, I use it. I also use it if I often spell my name Rachle just 'cause I'm just typing so fast, and so it fixes it for me.
I'm laughing because I often misspell my last name or my first name too. And I have like a little text expander that ends all my messages like best Alexis.
Oh,
And like when I have to write it myself,
yeah,
it's just like my fingers are off the keyboard and yeah. So
yeah.
yes, like if you are like Rachel and I and cannot spell your own name, text expander might be the tool for you. But yeah, I love that about it too, which is like yeah, it expands all sorts of things. It can be really complex,
Mhm.
but also it can start out really simple. So it's like you start out with being like, just I don't want to have to type Alexis at alexishasselberger.com anymore, right?
Exactly.
And then you end up with like this whole
Yeah,
email where you only have to like swap in one little number, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Um what like when you think about your time, so you're automating a lot of stuff, you got a lot of stuff going on, what are like non-negotiables in your
Um,
week for yourself?
mhm,
Like I know you said like a kind of a non-negotiable for feeling good about a day was client contact, right?
mm,
But what
mhm.
else for you? Like what is a non-negotiable or maybe like are there any firm boundaries that you have around your time and what does that look like for you?
I do. So I said that Mondays are my admin day,
Mhm.
and so I see clients the rest of the week, and then but in my calendar, clients cannot book me past 3 p.m. Even though I
Mhm.
work till 5 or 6, I
Yeah.
do not see clients in the afternoon unless it's a very special occasion.
Mhm.
So that helps so that when my kids come home, I'm not in meetings.
Mhm.
Right? I can stop what I'm doing and attend to say hello to them.
Yeah.
So that's good. I also block my calendar every day at 11 so that I have a 1 hour break, and I don't always use it, to actually take a break, but at least I
Mhm.
can handle some emails and get some and eat. Um, a new thing though that I just started, which I think is a new non-negotiable, is every single morning from 7:30 to 8 o'clock, I am on a Zoom meeting with a group of friends who are listening to a guided meditation together.
Oh, this is very interesting. Um Also because I know you're not a morning person.
Exactly. No, you're right. You do know that about me. I am not a morning person, and it's a group of a subset of my women's group
Yeah.
started doing this together, and I had a little bit of FOMO, but I'm also not a morning person, and
Yeah.
so no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I don't know, they had been doing it for a week or 2, and I thought, "Well, maybe I'll just do it once and see what
Yeah.
it's like." And so I did it once,
Yeah.
and not only do I enjoy it, and I'm very motivated to see my friends in the morning, and we have
Mhm.
this very structured 5 minutes of saying good morning, we have 20 minutes of meditation, and then
Mhm.
5 minutes of debrief, and then we get off, 8
Yeah.
o'clock, end.
Yeah.
But what it forces me to get out of bed at the same time every day, to get dressed and get going and start my day.
Yeah.
And so it's becoming this kind of just having a routine in place in the morning is something I've never
Mhm.
had, and I think that's why I don't think of myself as a morning person,
Mm.
because I've
Yeah.
never had a routine that I could kind of stick to. And on top of it, I'm meditating.
Right. And on top of that, it's like, I mean, there's so many things packed into that, right? It's like accountability with
Mhm.
people. It also like exciting because you get to see your friends in the morning. Like I'm just thinking like, I don't know, I'm also not a morning person. I'm like, could I get up at 7:30 to see my friends? Maybe, maybe. I mean, I literally just came off of I just got back from a 4-day business retreat, which was really amazing, but I did skip all of the optional things in the morning. So like there was like a 7:30 hike and cold plunge skipped. There was like an 8 a.m. yoga skipped because like I just can't. I'm so, I'm just not a morning person. But I'm like, oh, maybe if it were like a bunch of my friends that I was gonna see and I could do the meditation from my bed,
Yeah. Okay,
maybe I
so
could.
my notes and all Atomic Habits, right? There's so
Yeah.
many things that are built into
Yeah.
there's habit
Yeah.
stacking, there's,
Yep.
Um, and I think one of the things that's built into it is that the guided meditation program that we're doing builds
Yeah.
on itself. And so if you miss a
Mm.
day, you actually miss something.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's like skin in the game.
There's skin in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
interesting. That's fascinating. Okay.
so
I love hearing about this. Okay. Um, so those are all things that are going well, it sounds like.
Mhm.
I like to use this podcast and also my blog and everything else to also normalize the fact that things aren't always going well. Because they're not. So, like, what is something that you kind of still struggle with, or what is like a struggle that I know for me, it's like I struggle honestly with the same things I've struggled with for 20 years, right? It's like they come back in different forms,
Mhm.
but they're always something I'm dealing with. What is that for you when it comes to like time or energy or stress or productivity? Like, what are those? I know you mentioned perfectionism earlier.
Yeah. I think the biggest struggle for me is that sometimes my work is easier than my not work life.
Mm,
Okay. Which
yeah,
means that it's very easy to become or look like a workaholic.
yeah.
Sometimes working feels like the path of least resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I know my husband is helping with dinner now, but I notice that I would much rather work
Mm-hmm.
and cook for a family of 5 where everybody eats something different and I haven't thought about it yet.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay in my office until 7 and hope everyone
Mm-hmm.
has something to eat.
Yeah.
And, because I can end the day feeling like I was really effective and really proud, and it can be very hard to say no to those good feelings
Mm-hmm.
and then look toward things in my life that don't feel so good. Like, I don't know, like, it's can be hard to just be with myself sometimes
Mm,
and not be doing something, that whole thing about we're human doings, not human beings.
yeah.
And so I busy myself, and I
Yeah.
don't think it's healthy.
Yeah.
I
I
struggle with it. That's why I think the meditation is really interesting, although we
Mhm.
are doing something, we're doing a guided visualization, but,
Yeah.
I don't want work to be this thing that is, um, that's my fidget.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or like the
Right?
thing that is like the comfort zone that's protecting you from
Yes.
other places.
Yeah, I think so. Or like,
Yeah.
let's say, maybe my husband and I aren't ultra connected at the moment, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like easier to go to work than to have like a hard conversation with
Mhm.
him about getting reconnected. That takes energy and it takes
Right.
courage. And so, when life outside of work asks something hard of me, I hide
Mhm.
at work.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And what is that like? Is that something that only you notice, or do other people in your life notice that too?
Well, I get judged for it, right?
Mm,
Like, "Oh, mom, you're such a workaholic. You care more about your work than you do about us," or
mm-hmm.
"Can't believe you're working at night. You run your own business. Why would you do that?" You know?
Yeah.
So I feel very judged for it, but I
Hmm.
also, if I'm honest with myself, I know that
Yeah.
it's me hiding.
What's you hiding? Okay, here's another question. This is just a side note question on this.
Mhm.
So, do you feel like, so somebody asked me a question at this retreat this week that I just thought was a really funny and interesting question, which is like, okay, if you could just like stop your, like, you freeze everything around you, kind of freezes or whatever. You just carry on with your life, but you're like, your family is gone. Like, but in like 3 months, you come back and they don't have any recollection of this period. It's as if you like snapped your fingers and like everything was fine. So they don't know you were away from them, etc. Do you think you would still be working? Like you would lean into these workaholic tendencies during that time? Or do
Mm.
you think you would be spending your time in a different way? Like,
I would
yeah, what do you think?
definitely be spending my time in a different way.
Okay. Okay.
A very interesting premise, right? Good question. No, I think there are things that you know, if I really had, if I really had free time, I mean,
Hmm.
no time is free, right? But I
It's always a
really,
trade off. Everything is a trade off. Yeah.
yeah, there's no time is free. But if I really did have this, pie in the sky free time, I
Hmm.
think I might read books.
Yeah.
Like, fun books.
Yeah.
I don't read. I don't make time to read unless it's for
Mhm.
a purpose, right? I'm hosting
Mm,
a book group on the Talk to Your Boys book on Thursday, and so I've been
yeah.
vigorously reading it. I'm reading Let Them right now because I think it's such an interesting conversation topic.
Hmm.
And so I feel like I would probably use that time very differently. I would read.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Mhm,
interesting. Yeah.
mhm.
And then what, yeah, what, like, I don't know, then part of me goes, ooh, well, reading is also an activity that doesn't involve having a hard conversation with your family. And like, is there something there? Like, could you make a little more time for that?
Yeah, because it's not productive.
Right. So it feels like, oh, this is like, it's okay to spend the time working. Like, even if you're getting judged for it, you in your mind are like, yeah, but like, there's a really good reason for it.
I'm making
Yeah.
money for this
I'm making
family,
money. I'm
right?
supporting us. I'm sending you
Yeah.
to college.
I'm being
Yeah.
valuable with my time,
Yeah.
even if it's not spending time with you.
Yeah. 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 It comes back to that, like, like what is the value of our time and what is
Right.
productivity? And then I said I was gonna share my definition of productivity and I didn't, but mine is like kind of similar to yours. It's just phrased a different way, which is like doing what I intended to do. So like if
Mhm,
what I intended to do is to lay in the hammock and like read a book with a beer, that's productive
mhm.
because like that was part of it. Like if I'm intending to do nothing, that's productive.
Mhm.
It's only when I'm intending to do something and then I do nothing. That's when I
Mhm.
feel like not. And I agree. I struggle with the word productivity because I struggle with the concept of puritanical work ethic. And I also struggle with the concept of late stage capitalism and all of this, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, that's interesting.
I was at a dance party on Saturday night, and, um, I was just dancing, so lost in my dancing. I was at a club,
Hmm.
and I said to a friend that I was dancing with, I said, I'm so present right now that I feel like I'm escaping something. I feel
Mm.
like I'm in an escape, you know?
Hmm.
And and she looked at me and she said, "You're doing this for the sake of doing it, and that's important in your life, to do things for the sake of it," right? That's
Mm.
intrinsic motivation, right?
Hmm.
You're not doing it
Yeah.
for anything outside yourself other than the pure joy of it.
Joy of doing it. Yeah.
It's for the pure joy of doing it, and she said, "And you need more of that."
Yeah.
And
I think
saying I'm escaping it is a lot of judgment around that.
right. Yeah. I mean, I think everybody needs like, well, not everybody. I'm sure there are some people that don't, but I think like that's a really important thing to think about because I think so many of us don't do like you're not doing the reading even though you want to
Mhm.
because it doesn't fit some other criteria, right? Like you could just read for the sake of reading, but you're not because there's all this other stuff. There's all this other stuff around it.
There's no
And I think
time.
There's no time. Yes. Yeah. But I think like to what you were saying before around like you've stopped saying to yourself, like, I'm overwhelmed by this or X, Y, or Z. I think that's really important. Like a long time ago, I stopped saying I don't have time for, and I
Mhm.
replaced it with I didn't prioritize that or I won't prioritize that. And it really made a big, it's like a little language flip,
Mm.
but it made a big difference in like how I felt like my agency, my control over things. Right.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Like,
I stopped saying I'm overwhelmed because when I would say it, my husband would get overwhelmed by that.
oh,
He
interesting.
would absorb my overwhelm, and
Mhm.
so I had to train myself to say to him, "I have a lot on my plate right now, and I'm trying to get organized."
Mm,
Right? I would just try to
yeah.
be more clear with my language so that I wasn't spilling over the stress and having him take it on,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so it was kind of a good thing because it trained me to change the way I talk about my overwhelm, and it's good
Mhm.
for me too.
Right, right. Yeah, because, like, language does matter, right? Like, it matters more than we probably want to believe. Um, when you think about, like I mean, I have so many thoughts about this, but, like, when you think about, like, all the productivity advice that's out there in the world, like, what to you is the most BS piece of, like, standard productivity advice that you've heard?
You're not gonna like this.
Oh, tell me. Tell me.
Time blocking.
Yeah, some people hate it, right?
I can't do it.
Yeah, and if you can't do it, you shouldn't, right?
I just
Like,
yeah.
and like what you described earlier, where you kind of you put all your tasks on Monday and then you kind of just like move them around based on like what time you have later in the week, but then by the end of the week that you like mostly get them done, right? I think of that, I call that concept like structured fluidity. So it's like you're not looking at your entire list. You are saying like, hey, these are the things for this week. And you're not saying I'm going to do this thing at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. You're saying like I have a boundary
Mhm.
and I'm going to fit this stuff in within the boundary, but I'm going to do it kind of like more as the mood strikes me. Right.
Yep.
And I think that like time blocking, I mean, I actually don't hate that you say that because like time blocking is something that works for me, but it's not something that works for everybody. And I also think that like I bet when people hear that I like time blocking, they think that I time block for the exact right amount of time and that
Mhm.
I follow it and that I show up to like do the exact thing. But I actually do a pretty it's like a modified version of what you're doing. Like I do actually time block the week, but I don't think I ever do a day exactly how I planned it. I'm
Right.
usually like I thought I wanted to do that in the afternoon, but nope, I'm going to do it in the morning or like I'm going to do that next Tuesday or I'm going to do that on Tuesday or whatever. I kind of move it around. And I like time blocking as a tool to just make sure I'm not overloading myself.
I wanna ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, when somebody sends you an article
Yeah.
or a podcast that they
Yeah.
think you'll love,
Yeah.
but especially an article,
Yeah.
and it's gonna take you 10 minutes to read it.
Yeah.
I just realized I think I know the answer. I think I know what you're gonna say.
Okay. We'll find out.
Because I recently sent you something and I know how you handled it. But I've noticed that when someone sends me something, I just put it right at the top of my to-do list.
Oh,
'Cause
interesting.
I wanna handle it. I wanna get it out of my inbox. I wanna, like, reply that I read it, or I'll open it and leave it as an open tab on my computer so that I can, like, read it, at the end of the day. And I've noticed lately that I prioritize other people's things that they send me above my own commitments and tasks for my business.
Hmm.
And probably it gets reinforced because sometimes people do send me really interesting stuff, and maybe I'll
Mm-hmm.
forward it on to somebody else, or I'll share it with a client or what have you. But what do you do when somebody sends you something to read or do, and it isn't in your you don't have time blocked for the week, right?
Yeah. So, well, there's two things. Like one, I block time for email slash quick tasks, and I like if it's something that's like quick, or I might just read it in the moment, like as I'm going through and processing my email. But more likely, what I do is I use the Chrome reading list feature,
Hmm.
and so Chrome reading list is just like a I don't know, it's like a functionality in Chrome where you instead of leaving the tab open, you can just add the tab to this reading list and then you can expand the reading list or shut the reading list. And so I have like if I opened my reading list right now, I mean there are hundreds of things in there, most of which I have not read yet. May never read, in fact. There's YouTube videos, there's articles, there's whatever, and I leave it there. And then, and like, I'll respond to the person who sent it to me and I'll say, oh, thank you so much for thinking of me or whatever. And if I did read it, I might make a comment about it. If I didn't, I'll just say, thank you so much for thinking of me. I'll put it there. And then, like, when I read that stuff is like, if I'm having lunch, like I'm having lunch or something in front of my computer, I'll just like open up the reading list and be like, which one of those things do I want to read? But have gotten really comfortable. Like I've gotten really comfortable with the idea of not being a completist.
Mm.
And this has not always been the case for me. Like I used to be like, if I opened a book, I will finish the book. And now I'm like, if I read half an hour of this book and I'm just like not into it, there are so many other things that I could be doing with my time. And the same way, like there will always be a bajillion more articles for me to read that I would love read. I'm sure I would love reading every single one of those.
Yeah.
And I'm just never going to do it. Like I'm just there's no way that I can do that and prioritize the things that are important to me. And so, yeah, I just use a tool like that to like put it in a holding tank. What did you think I was going to say? I'm
Well,
so curious.
well, recently, I hosted Ryan Park, like I was
Mm-hmm.
mentioning, as a guest speaker in my community, and I told you that I would send you the recording of it. And so when it was all
Mm,
said and done, usually I reserve the recording for people in my community, but you're my
yeah.
friend, I sent it to you.
Yeah.
And, I think you used AI to
Oh, I did.
summarize the talk, and then
Yeah.
you were able to respond to me and say, "Thanks for sharing it," and you commented a few things on it, and we had a little back
Yeah.
and forth about it, and I was like, "Oh my god, Alexis is using AI to shorten the amount of time it takes her to handle other people's things that they send her."
Yeah, yeah. I think that the difference was for that. That's like a tool. That's actually a technique I feel very proud of that I've been using
Yeah.
recently, which is that like I, like lots of people, sign up for lots of things that like I want to see this webinar, I want to do this, whatever. And then I never actually look at the
Mhm.
replay. And so I've started just turning on my granola notes and running it in the background while I'm away from my computer. And then I come back to look at the
Okay.
granola notes. And so I'm effectively letting AI watch it for me. And
Yeah.
then I can like lean it, like with granola, my note taker, I can like ask it questions or whatever. Right. Um, so in that case, I did watch it because I'd asked for it. I think that's the difference. Like,
Mhm.
if you had just sent that to me out of the blue, I probably wouldn't have done anything with it. But
Okay.
because I had asked you for it and it was something I was actually interested in, and like I knew I was going to talk to you soon, I I was like motivated to get it done sooner rather than later.
Okay, it makes sense, but it gave me the idea that you did that is the next time someone shares an article with me that's, like,
Mm-hmm.
really long, and I don't have time for it,
Yeah.
to just put it into some AI, you know, tool and say, "Summarize this for me in 2 paragraphs that I
Yeah.
have time to read," you know?
But what if
And
you
maybe
just said,
what if I just deleted it?
yeah, like, what if you just archived it? What if you just said thank you? Like, what if you could challenge yourself to not feel like you have to ingest everything somebody else sends you just
Yes.
because they send it to you, right?
So you asked me earlier, what are my struggles? That is one of my
Yeah.
struggles, is because I am just curious, I'm a learner,
Yeah.
I want to read everything. If someone sends me
Yes.
something and I respect that person, I feel
Yes.
like it's gonna add value to my life, it's a little hard for me to say no. It's about saying no.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally get that, and I'm looking down right now because I'm like, my to read I also keep lists of, like in my opportunistic list of to read, right? Like for like books, usually. My to read list for, like, just books I wanna read because I'm a human being in the world is
Uh-huh.
sitting at 384 right now,
Wow.
and my to read for work book list is 134, right?
Oh,
And it's like, for me, that's like, I may never get to most of those, but I really love having, and the same thing with, like, the Chrome reading list, like, I don't make my like, I don't feel any, like, I don't care if I read all of these books or not, but
mhm,
what I really like to have is, like, I have time for reading right now. What's the already curated list of
uh-huh,
things I know I'm interested in? Like,
mm,
that's how I kind of treat it, is like somebody has given me a gift by giving me something that, like, at a later date may serve me,
mhm.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. You did it for your future self.
I did it for my future self. Okay. Um, Last question before we have to wrap this up, sadly. Um, where can where can people find you? And like, what's one thing you would want people to know about, I don't know, productivity, stress? Like, is there any message you want to give people? Is there any message you want to give the moms listening? I know there are a lot of moms
Yeah.
in here.
I don't make don't make how productive you are equal how much worth you have.
Yeah, you're
It's really
productive.
not helpful for anybody, s least not your kids.
No, no, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think I mean, for me, that's been a lifelong endeavor to really figure that out. And
Yeah.
I'm starting to crack the code on it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I think like a lot of this stuff is a lifelong endeavor, right? I know people always are like, I want to just come in and be a different person. And you probably see that with the parents you work with. They're like, I want to just fix this. And
mm,
like, this is not a quick fix, right? It's like a life, like we're always rehashing, reviewing, getting better, trying, experimenting, etc.
and changing our standards.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mantra in my community that's we prioritize our relationships over being right.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so, what does that look like in my house? Sometimes it looks like I prioritize my relationships over having a clean kitchen
Yep.
because my kids are not following their kitchen cleaning list, you know? And for me, oh gosh, if my kitchen's not clean, then it says something about how productive I am and how valuable I am and how good I am as a mom,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so prioritizing my relationships over all of that is what allows me to let go.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
really love that. I feel like I channeled you last night when I walked upstairs and saw that neither one of my sons, or my husband had done any of their chores in the kitchen. And I just moved dirty dishes out of the way, filled up the thing that I needed to do, and said nothing to anyone because I know that me nagging is not going to help.
Good job.
Thank you. And then where can people find you? You do so much great work. I know that I always open your Tuesday, Two Tip Tuesday email. I may only read the headlines like
That's
in the email. Like I
fine.
always open it and I always like look and I'm like, okay, either, yeah, that makes sense. Or like sometimes I dive deeper, but I always open it because there's always something valuable inside of there.
I try to make
Um,
headlines valuable because I know people are reading quickly and skimming. So the Two Tip
yes.
Tuesday will have one sort of, ninja parenting hack, and then the next one is usually a resource, whether it's an upcoming event or
Mhm.
my colleagues is doing something really cool or an article I read. And so you can sign up for that at my website, which is sklarparenting.com. And there's also, so you sign up, like subscribe to the Two Tip Tuesday newsletter at the bottom. And then you can also learn about the Boy Mom Academy, which is my program where I support moms of boys. And then here's a little secret is I don't post my events on my website regularly. So you have to get onto my email list in order to know that I have an event coming up. I'm doing one in May called 4 Steps to Getting Your Son Off Screens this summer.
That is probably something that many, many people are very interested in hearing about it. And
Very popular
I may need to show up for that one as well, as we usually are very on top of summers, but
one.
this year we don't have that much planned yet. It's been a
That'll
little
be
hard, been a little hard to pin down the teenagers on what they want to do. So I may be showing up there. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm sure that all of our listeners have gotten a lot of valuable stuff out of hearing your story, and definitely go sign up for Rachel's newsletter because it is really helpful. Like I really like I'm not just saying it, I really do open it every time because I'm either it's like a reminder of something that you have told me at some point in the past, or it's like a new thing that I'm like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So it's always really good.
great to talk to you, Alexis, as
All
always.
right. Thank you.
Bye bye.
If you're loving this podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you took just a moment to give it a 5-star review. This isn't a vanity metric, although, of course, I want to know if you like it. Your reviews help other listeners find the show. It really makes a difference. So, your review is a sort of pay it forward type of good deed.